happening at the movies, and there's a movie now called Hidden Figures that you've got to see it. I mean, it's a true story. There's amazing acting in it, but the most amazing to me, because she's so dear to my heart, is Octavia Spencer, who has agreed to come on this show.
Well, thank you for
Wow,
having
it's so
me.
good. Last time I saw you was Sundance. You were doing Fruitvale Station.
Oh, it has been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Well,
It's
you
good
know
to
what
see you.
You're always winning awards. You're always, everything is just happening good for you because it should.
Well,
It
thank
should.
you. Thank you. This is just doing this movie was good for me, for my spirit.
Well, you know, it's so great because it is about the space program, and it's the late 60s, and we're seeing these three incredibly strong African-American women who are so crucial to the space program. And when I first heard about it, I said, oh, did they make that up? You know? But they didn't.
No.
Every word of it is true, right?
Every word of it's true. When I first heard it, I thought it was historical fiction, just like The Help, because we'd never heard it. Throughout the entire 46 years of my life, 43 to 1, 40 years of my life.
36.
I'd never heard this story. So to be able to be a part of the telling of it is one of those things that I'm very, very excited about.
So tell us a little bit about the character that you're playing. She's not a character, she's real.
She's real. Dorothy Vaughan was the acting supervisor of the African-American female computers. They were the women who did all of the trajectories and everything.
I have to stop you because it's so great that they're called computers.
Right?
That's what these computer operators or programmers were called, computers.
They were actually, before they were programming, because Dorothy can be credited as the mother of the women who code. She figured out the IBM and then taught herself to program it and then taught the other women who were computers. They actually did computations. It's when you think about it, we are so used to having our computers at our fingertips, but these women were actually computing, and they gave the information to the scientists. It was amazing.
It really is.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, but I interrupted you telling us about Dorothy.
Well, basically, the story is about these three women, African-American mathematicians, who helped get our first men into space. It's such an uplifting movie, too, because you see these women, they're like just set in a very volatile time in our nation's history, but it doesn't deter them from the task at hand, and the goal is to be a part of something greater than themselves, and that's what they did. They contributed to our space race, our space program.
Well, talk a little bit about your co-stars and who they're playing. Taraji P. Henson is also
Taraji P. Henson is the story. While it's about these three women, it really centers around Katherine Johnson, because had it not been for her contributions, we would never have gotten to space in the first place. She was the one who figured out that algorithm, and so a lot is credited to her, and she's still with us. She saw the movie last week.
Really?
Yes.
What did she think? Was it a good review? Did she give it?
She gave it 2 thumbs up. Her family loved it, and we watched it also with Dorothy Vaughn's family, which I play Dorothy, and Janelle Monáe plays Mary Jackson, and we saw it with her family. They were all very, very happy with the telling of the stories.
Well, which is your best critics you're going to ever hear from.
That's all
This
you
is
want.
it. You
Exactly.
don't need me. You get me. Doesn't matter whether I like it or I
love
think
you
it's
liking
a great.
it.
Yeah, we love you liking it. That's good. That's very open of you to do this, to do it. But what we're also seeing, even though it's the late '60s and it's the civil rights movement is there, you ladies are still taking a lot of crap.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's set right at the beginning of the civil rights movement. So when you think about it, these women didn't have the right to vote. And while, you know, the movie is taking place, at the time that the movie is taking place is like 1961, 1962, the Voting Rights Act didn't come for another couple of years. So it, when you put it into that context and know that they fought so hard for equality just to be, you know, recognized in the workplace, and that history went on to somehow obscure them from the achievements in the space race, it makes this movie that much more important for me.
Well, it's just still to me a horrible thing to think of that we don't know this. That this movie, as good as it is, has to be the one that puts it back in our own minds as a part of American history.
Right. I think this will be a beacon of hope and hopefully attract more young minds to the space program, because you know young girls are steered away from STEM programs, and we know now that women have always been involved in science, technology, engineering, and math. I mean, for a very long time. So if it just garners that type of passion from future enthusiasts, I'm thrilled that we got to be a part of it. I know Taraji and Janelle are. We also have Kevin Costner playing the
You're all
head.
co-star.
I know.
You and Kevin are just like a new team.
I know, and he's so
Black
brilliant
and white.
in this.
He is, but he does. There's a scene in this movie where Taraji's character is basically having to go 2 miles before she can go to the bathroom, and he's going to try to make it. She's going to fix it so she doesn't have to go to a black restroom somewhere else. And we look at that today. Kids today looking at it would say, "What world is this?"
I know, they really don't understand the context of what, or the period that these women were living in. You know, segregation was by law, and the head of NASA was quite progressive in his thinking that it doesn't matter the color of your skin or your gender. It's about the great minds contributing to our work. And he said, and Kevin has that line, if we don't get there together, we don't get there at all. And it was actually true, because had it not been for them looking for the brightest mind in Katherine Johnson, I think eventually they would have gotten there, but we got there, crediting her.
You credit her, you credit Dorothy, who you played, because in the end, even though she doesn't get that title for forever, she's managing.
She's managing.
She's in that IBM with those guys and saying, this is how this works.
Can you imagine this machine that fills a room, and they are paying all of these men who are from the company to, you know, chart the trajectories and everything, but they couldn't get it to work. And you have this woman who could disassemble a car and reassemble it. She could fix it.
There you go. As my wife always says, men know nothing. No. And basically, if it weren't for women, there'd be nothing done. You know,
we're a team.
Yeah, a team. Well, and was that good for the three of you? Taking over this movie, you all got along? Did the three of you feel like a unit?
Absolutely. Ted Melfi, our director, and he also co-wrote the script. From the beginning, we had a 2 weeks rehearsal period, and from that beginning, it was really about shedding who we were in our real lives and becoming and assuming the roles of these women. And we just, our relationships gelled from day one. From day one. Taraji's an amazing cook, so she had me and Janelle over, and there's a scene where we actually play cards in the film that we kind of ended up playing cards, you know, at her house. So yeah, I have 2 new additions to my lifelong friends that we're going to be friends for a while.
That's it. You're listening to Janelle's music, watching Empire. You know,
watching Empire. I told Taraji I might have to come on and be her sister, her British sister. I don't know how that'll factor in, but I'll do it.
You could make it happen. No, I know that you can do it. That's it. But what Taraji's doing too, there's nothing cookie in this performance.
Nothing.
There's nothing there.
Nothing.
Those people that are looking for that aren't going to get that. That's
well, she's a great chameleon. I mean, that's what we do as actors. She really captured the essence and the elegance of Katherine Johnson. I mean, that's what I love about the entire cast. We have a beautiful ensemble. I'm thrilled to be just a cog in the wheel. I really am. But it's all squarely on Taraji's shoulders.
Cog in the wheel.
Oh, it's,
sure.
I'm a cog. I'm a cog.
Come on, that Dorothy is like, she's in her own quiet way.
I'm the one who can fix the wheel if it breaks down.
She can fix the wheel, and she's making history to do that.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
So is this a happy time for you in your career? Are you just happy with the way it's going? You're also on Mom, you know? I mean, I loved you I know you got better, but when you were kind of this klepto, alcoholic, total mess.
We love messy
You
characters.
just love to play that?
Yes.
You and Allison Janney just like going at each other?
Allison's one of my dearest friends, and to see her being welcomed in the half-hour genre, she's really one of the funniest people on the planet. And I love that she's able to do drama and comedy so seamlessly and effortlessly. So I feel grateful that I am afforded opportunities that I never would have, beyond 4 years ago. I feel like there's a rebirth and just redefining who I am as an actress. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, you and Allison were in The Help together.
Yes.
Now that is a movie that did create a family, didn't it?
Yes.
That really did. You got. I remember Emma Stone and you too. That's still going on.
Emma Stone, Viola Davis, Allison Janney, Bryce Dallas Howard, Anna O'Reilly. We're still very. It's funny because I saw Bryce at Toronto, and ran into Emma. And Viola and Jessica Chastain. I mean,
what happened to her?
Oh, I don't know. She didn't go on to do much. We've been, texting. I saw her just a couple of weeks ago, and it just feels so much like old home week when you get to run into them. But we're constantly in contact too, so it's kind of not an issue, but we don't really get to see each other. So when we get to see each other, it's great.
It's like
all
crazy
of us.
time.
It's pretty amazing.
No, well, that's a good thing to happen. But The Help and that Oscar that you win for, what do you remember of that time, with that night?
That night?
Yeah.
I remember it felt like an eternity from, him walking out. It's like he's talking in slow motion. And then he's opening
Who was it that presented you?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yes.
It was kind of wonderful.
And he's in slow motion reading the
nominees. It was slow motion. And I honestly don't have a clear recollection because I know that it was about getting my knees to move. They locked up.
Knees had to function.
Yeah, they just locked up. I couldn't stand up. He's like, oh God, I've got to walk up there. How am I going to get up there? And I couldn't get up the stairs. So it was about not falling down. But I watched the video, so I know what happened. But
not from
memory. I just kept saying, don't fall down. Yeah. The world is watching. Alabama is watching. Don't fall down.
Alabama girl. They do watch. They do definitely do that. But what did that change things for you? I always wonder what happens when.
It definitely changed my career, but the difference, it was a slow burn because, people have to see you and they have to see your work and what you follow up with. And then I felt like more and better roles came my way, but it took a minute. It took a minute. And I didn't mind sitting it out, waiting for different opportunities. I was thrilled to be a part of Fruitvale Station. When I think about Ryan Coogler now, being this new Marvel guy, and I love Creed, that he's now a part of that kingdom.
And Michael B. Jordan, and just an amazing movie, and everything different is happening with it. But you started, and I never really got to ask you about this, but you were an intern.
I was an intern on a tiny little movie with Whoopi Goldberg and Sissy Spacek called The Long Walk Home. And
how do you get that job? What do you mean you were an intern?
I called every day. I went down when I found out where I'm a sleuth, so I found out where their office was, and I went every day and I called every day. And finally, the poor production coordinator said, "You're not going to leave, are you? You're going to keep coming back." And I said, "Yes, I'm going to keep coming back."
I love that persistence.
Movies. I didn't realize that movies were made on location. I thought they only were made in Hollywood, and I would not have a chance to break in. And when I realized they could be filmed in your own backyard, it changed my whole life.
What were you doing up to that point? What was
I was
your
a
life
high school
like?
student.
High school, so it's high school in Alabama.
In Alabama.
See, I immediately started talking Alabama.
You get
in Alabama.
When I'm around English people, I become English. And when I'm around Australians, I become Australian. I can't do French.
Really?
Not at all.
That's what you do to be French.
You eat lots of croissants.
So you're some popcorn.
Popcorn and French.
So you're in high school and you're saying to your family, I'm going to be in this business.
My mom had just passed away. I just remembered she'd always wanted us to go to college and do, those things. But when I heard that this movie was coming to town, I felt like I was going to join the circus. I'm going to join the circus, and I'm going to go from town to town with the circus, basically the movies. And it was a defining moment for me because it was the first step in my dreams coming true, towards making my dreams come true. And I worked with Howard Koch and Dave Bell, the producers, and man, it was wonderful. It changed my whole life.
But what is it like on your first day as an intern on a movie with Whoopi Goldberg and Sissy Spacek?
Magical.
Is it? So
Magical.
there was no, you had no fear, you were just, this is where I want to be.
Whoopi and I acted out a scene from The Color Purple, like Pharrell and I did. I mean, there's this thing, yeah, it's cultural phenomenon, The Color Purple. I mean, I can quote anything from it. And I just went up to her and I was like, I love that scene, you know, where Sophia stomps through all my life, and I'm going through it, and Whoopi did a couple of her lines, and I was transfixed, and I knew that I would never, ever not love Whoopi Goldberg. And I remember her saying to me near the end of it, because I was starting to get depressed, I want to move to Hollywood and become an actress. And she said, you promised your mom that you would go to college. You need to go to college. Hollywood will be there. And so I did. And right before I graduated, she was filming in some other country far away, like, I don't know, Africa somewhere. And she had her brother call me and deliver a message that she was proud of me. And I remember that to this day, how committed she was.
Wow.
Yeah, I love Whoopi.
And she just made you and said, you've got to go to college
You
first.
have to go to college.
That.
You promised your mom. Hollywood will be there. And she's right. Hollywood's still there, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it still there? Sometimes
it's still there.
I wonder. You
to
know,
the kids.
But it is. Yeah, it is still there.
Yeah, it's never too late to pursue your dreams.
So, what's your first time on camera? I just want to know how that happened.
I was working behind the scenes and casting in Joel Schumacher. From that point on, I'd had all these directors say to me, "You're so animated. You have such a personality. I'd like for you to read for the role of." I was like, no, thank you. You know, I'm working, you know, as a casting assistant. I'm not an actress, but secretly I was like, yes. Joel Schumacher, we were on A Time to Kill.
Oh, A Time to Kill, yeah.
He did not ask me to read. He was like, what's wrong with him? I want him to ask me to read so I can turn him down. And he didn't ask me, and so I asked him if I could be the woman. There was a person who started this riot to free Sam Jackson's character. And I remember him saying, oh no, honey, your face is too sweet. You can be Sandy's nurse. And that started my professional career.
Being Sandra Bullock's nurse.
Rourke's nurse. And I remember my lines, innocent, innocent. We won. Still remember. You will never forget that moment or your first lines on camera.
Of course you don't. Of course, I had forgotten it, but now, Time to Kill, I'll be streaming that tonight.
Yes.
Just to see that moment. Innocent?
Innocent, innocent. We won.
And then, after Hollywood got a look at that, they beat a path to your door. They said, Octavia, we want you in
there were some
everything
trees.
we're doing.
You know, it wasn't a clear path. I had to walk around a few puddles, but I stayed on that track. And Sandra Bullock actually gave me my second job, and she was responsible for helping me get an agent. All these things that you don't really understand the mechanisms until after the fact, how fortunate you were. I worked, she shot a short in Ventura, and I had just moved to town, me and my good friend Tate Taylor, and we were working as PAs on it, and she had a situation where one of the actresses had fallen out of the short, and she ended up giving me the part. And then I had tape with Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey in this short film that was shown to a director, or to a casting director, because the DP on that movie was doing a Disney movie. So it was just, I went from job to job, but then I realized I really had to study film acting and you know, but it was not an easy road, but it was definitely one that was enchanted in some way.
It is, because you're making Hollywood sound like a really nice place, where everybody said, Octavia,
a nice place.
I'll give you a part in my short. And then my and then my agent will connect you with this people.
It was that way.
Well, all we hear are people going, oh, nobody's going to call me.
No, well, you had those moments. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there were moments that I was idle. And so you have a day job. Idle. Like you get, 2 jobs a year, and you're doing okay if you get 2 jobs a year. But that's why I was so thrilled to surround myself with like the Allison Janneys and the Melissa McCarthys before anybody knew Allison
Melissa
Janney.
too.
Melissa McCarthy was in the Groundlings. She and her husband Ben Falcone,
Right.
and Tate. And there's Jim Rash, who won an Oscar for The Descendants with his writing partner Nat Faxon.
Tate winds up directing The Help.
Yeah, and we were all together. I mean, it's just I can't see any part of my career without the nucleus of friends and support.
What would you be doing if none of this happened?
I'd be an FBI profiler. I would be that person figuring out the crimes. No, seriously, I have this affinity for the law and the written word, the letter of the law. I probably would be in law school, but it would be dull.
I bet you'd be damn good doing that. Yeah.
Your Honor, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You sticking with that story?
Yes.
I'm not yet. I'm never doing that.
See?
Yeah.
I get to play a lawyer on TV.
Well, I'm sure you'll play it and you'll do all of this because you're you, you know.
Yeah.
And every time I see you on screen, I'm happy. I
Thank
just
you.
see that to do that. So you lead a charmed life. And,
I do.
And we're all better for it to do that.
I
We
do.
really are.
I'm a
It's
very
great.
blessed woman.
You really are. And of course, you know that we end in song all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is in your head, but I'll take whatever is in there.
Well, these women were Wonder Women to me, and I just, Wonder Woman, all the world is waiting for you and the powers you possess in your satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white, and blue, blue. Blue. Yeah. Not a good singer.
Oh, come on.
Get
It's
us out from under Wonder Woman.
There you go. There you go. I'm so happy with that. I loved it. Why can't you just be here with us always?
Honey, if you have popcorn
You
for me,
didn't take
I'll never
you didn't
leave.
take a taste of it.
Well, I'm going to take the bucket.
Look at you. Oh, okay. Then that's a deal.